said, I mean, there's no one like me. Trying, deep down, you trying. What's up? It's Paris Hart and Jason Williams coming at you live for another episode of the Love With Podcast. Today, we got a Renaissance man. We have not only a lyricist, not only a dope artist, but we got a dope entrepreneur on our show as well. Today, we got Newark's very own Barry Bondz.
Yo, what's going on, fellas?
Yo.
Good.
So to start it off,
Appreciate
really, it's like you know how to get it. So what was it like, coming from Newark to really start off who you are today?
Oh man, it was a hustle. It feels like Jersey is blackballed from music. That's how it feels. So it was a grind. Just keep pushing, being consistent. You know what I mean? Creating our own lane. Me and my team creating our own lane. Recording a lot of music and just staying at it, man. Just staying at it.
So you just mentioned your team. How important would you say a team is to be successful and to hit the strides that you've hit?
Oh, it's very important. If I would knew what I knew then, like what I did back then, I'd be ahead farther than I am now. You gotta have everybody playing their position. It's very important. You gotta be able to delegate. If you have a cameraman, producer, like I had it set up back then. I was blessed. I've always been blessed. I could say I had a videographer, I had a producer, I had an in-house studio. It just, being consistent, making it all work, having a PR guy. People got to be able to play positions. Sometimes everybody want to be under the light, and that's the problem. So that's why I had to learn that. Very important.
Yeah, man. Like being in Newark, how would you say like that impacted like who you chose from and like the shape of like your team? Like did you stay like more like in the state, or did you like go like far out?
In the beginning, I stayed homegrown. Now I'm spread out because it was about who could play the best position. Like I have management that's outside of who I ran with. I have PR, he's outside of who I ran with. My producer, I have two producers. I have three, but the one I have Game Beats, and I have this one that's in Russia. Yeah, like when I say team wasn't about, I ain't gonna say it wasn't about friendship, but it was about everybody coming with their talents, like a football team. Quarterback, running back, some guy good on special teams. It really like formed. But in the beginning, it was like, the hood. It was everybody with me, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and as you start growing, you kind of build that resume of like, okay, now that I got my level up, I can get people from this tier, I can get different people, and they know what I'm bringing to the table now. I'm not just somebody that they might have heard from somebody else. They could Google me and see what I've done.
But yeah, you know what? It's hard to trust people in this business. I've had guys that I was working with, and people I was working with, and they'll like steal your ideas and leave, and then invite you to the idea that you created. Yeah, I had a show I was creating one time, and I was creating it at my house. I had a couple artists with me, and then the guy went and did the show and asked me to be a part of it. And I respect the game, because this is business. You guys got your podcast. You guys are, and it looks dope. So it's like you got to take care of each other. You going out, working with everybody, they'll steal your ideas, man. They don't have no loyalty. It's every man for themselves.
Speaking of podcasts, you actually got the Smoke Talk podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just like a man cave on just kicking it, man. About sports and entertainment. Sometimes I do on Twitter. I do one of my partners is he's a big sports analyst, Brandon Robinson. I mean, he's been doing it since he was a kid, and sometimes I'll go places with him and I'll hear things, and then I will report it on Twitter, and it will go viral. So I started doing that. Except with the fellas, we decided, hey, let's do the Smoke Talk podcast. We smoke cigars. That's what it's based on. Just passing the news, but more basic on sports and entertainment.
Really, we try basing this show on bringing genuine people and letting their stories be known and letting people see. Look, you might have heard this person on The Source, or you might have heard of Barry Bondz on Vibe. You might have heard about them on all these different media outlets, but we want you to hear from him who he is.
No, I appreciate the opportunity. I mean, this is what the ground, this is what counts. Podcasts like this is what counts right here. You guys keep keep the thing going. You know, when the bigger you get, you lose that, you know, and this is what keeps it going right here. So I appreciate the opportunity.
We want to show light to you and what you've done. Like,
hey, I appreciate it, man. The journey, man. You know,
yeah.
You're part of the journey, you know, it's not over. You're part of the journey.
You've wrote in jingles, your music has appeared in documentaries and a whole bunch of great releases. What was that like?
That was beautiful, man. I mean, like we were just saying, like the story. So, you know, I don't know where you guys like started at, but this is part of the story. Next, you might be sitting together somewhere. You might be on TV. You might, you know what I mean? You don't know, man. You might be on Revolt. That's the goal, to keep growing. You won't forget. This is what's going to make you. The moments where, you know, the putting it together, making it happen, reaching out to people. That's what makes you. And that was part of the story. I did a documentary about Newark. Just writing, man. Every accomplishment. You know, I think it's a little different when you got to really work for it. Because, you know, if you just get it overnight, you kind of like lose it overnight. When you work for it, you appreciate it, man. I appreciate every time I hit something, you know? So, yeah, that was dope, though. The documentary, it was dope.
What was it like going from, okay, like I'm doing music for, you know, for fun, and now I'm doing music as a career. Now it's like my life. Like now I'm part of like the scene. What was that switch like for you?
Oh, man, it takes the fun out of it. Yeah, it takes the fun. So, for a while coming up, when I chose that, you know what really changed me? I never told this story. I was in the studio and one of my producers played my record in the studio called Soul Diggers. Soul Diggers, it was based in, I think the studio was in Montclair, I'm not sure, or Orange, but they had like a lot of platinum records. They still have like music. I think they separated. Anyway, there was an A&R at EMI Records. This was years ago, and he heard my music. He called me up there, and he wanted to sign me, but he told me that this record had this melody, and he was telling me like, "Yo, I want to sign you, man, but I need you to go back and rap this record like Tupac." And I was like, you know, and it was a couple more instances like that kind of molded me to the independent, right? So we all go and put this independent hat on. We're gonna do it ourselves. Be the Master P's. You know, you hear about the Jay-Z Rockefeller. You hear that shit. You think it's easy. You hear it.
Yeah.
You have to literally walk out the booth and take the artist hat off and then put the CEO hat on. And then when the win comes, we all win. But when you lose, it's Bondz. You know, and that's life. That's the position you take as the head. And you know what I mean? So it definitely was like bittersweet for me. Now it's a little more different because I understand it now. It's more like an attitude. You gotta have like this attitude towards it to appreciate. I appreciate the creative process. You figure like this, creative process. An hour ago, this podcast didn't exist. An hour later, we'll have a product that all three of us have created to. So it's alive now. And you guys are gonna repeatedly do this. And as you do it, you'll see like, wow, like, you know what I mean? I'm really bringing things to life. And I think people don't really sit back and think about it like that. You have a song, you have a blank beat. You come out the booth, you got a song. Next thing you know, you have artwork. Next thing, you know what I mean? And it just grows. I love that process. You know, I love the creative process. Because now with streaming, you guys listen to music, right? You guys play a lot of music, you listen to music, right? Look how fast the albums go. Look how fast the albums drop.
An hour.
Dropping and we over it. Like, you know, I'm literally like, I'm a fan of music. I'm a Rick Ross fan. Like there's certain artists that I just buy. Nipsey Hussle, God bless him. You know, Rick Ross. His album dropped like December 11th. And then by like January, you know, he was dropping deluxe, but music, he coming back with something else. You know, it's the process, man. I love that.
Hey, so what's your creative process like when you get in the booth? Is it like I'm putting pen and paper, or I'm going in there and I'm just coming off the dome?
I've done off the dome, but I gotta really be like blacked out, like no phone, no nothing, like no life. I just got to be in there. I'm usually writing on my phone now, or driving, believe it or not, voice recorder. You know what I mean? Or like I got like a music thing in my notes, and I'll just like literally just all new stuff. I just created something new, you know what I mean? And I'll just literally like just keep going, and it'll come from. I do most choruses in the voice recorder, and then I'll be writing, and I'll pull over, write something, or if I'm on a highway, I'll memorize it. That's how I do. You know, that Jay-Z made it hard for us, man. He kind of messed the game up, man, with that, you know, I go in the booth and just come off top.
But I feel like you're generally taking off top the moments and just writing it down. Like this all the stuff that came off the top of your head, just not in the studio.
Yeah.
So it's just like organically your life is just into the music.
No, definitely. And like I said, if I'm like locked in, like it's a if I'm in the studio, it's quiet, it's me and the engineer or whatever, and I got the time, I can do it because that's what you're doing. You know, you're basically putting down your takes. Let me say this, punching it in. Let me come back. Let me add this. Come back. Let me add this. That's all you're doing. Same thing. It's just sometimes I gotta see it, you know.
You're making art. It's like not every stroke is gonna be the perfect one. You gotta go in there and make it your own and go in there and do what you gotta do. But
definitely.
But when was the moment that you said, I want to be a musician? What was that like?
I got it from my cousin. My cousin Game Beats was a producer. He was an artist first, and I just was coming around watching him, and I started writing, and I was making music in Philadelphia at one point, and I started performing, and I just got the bug for it. Like I said, it's the creative process. I think it's the part where you wow people. You see people's expression for what you do. I think that really puts the fire behind you. That was it for me. Once I started seeing, you know, the facial expressions and the feedback, and it's like, oh, all right, you know, the attention. I think it's an attention thing. To be honest.
Everybody likes good lights, cameras, and some action, right?
Yeah.
Like, what was it like shooting your videos? Like finally like getting like putting the life to the music and that kind of thing.
In the beginning, honestly, it was hard because I was just a writer. I didn't like I said, like, you know, as you go, it grows. Now I love it because I understand it now. Now I love it. It's like a movie. It's like acting almost in a sense. I love it. But in the beginning, it was tough. I love it now. I love different the treatments and, you know, going on location and stuff like that. I love it. I got a new video coming out soon. That's pretty hot. I just put the trailer up like at 7. I got some fire coming, man.
And so when you go in there, do you direct them, or like what's your creative process when you go into
videos?
Yeah.
Video. I've directed videos. I don't like that. But you know, you have to have your input because if not, you could go in the wrong direction. It's definitely communication with you and the director. I have an idea when I write the song. Money Music. I shot Money Music. I told the director, you know, I see this cinematic view or whatever like that. We ended up on like a helicopter pad in Jersey City with New York skyline behind me. So me telling him the vision, and then he comes to you, well, we got this location, this location, this location. I think when you're coming up, right, for up and coming artists, I don't think it's that deep. I think it's more consistency. I think in the beginning, even with podcasting, with my podcast, you know, my podcast is new. It's more consistency, and then it's adjusting as it goes to make it bigger. Unless you're like sponsored by like some big company, then it's like do it, you know, roll the cameras out. But I think what happens with young artists, up and coming artists, old artists, whoever, but you're new. I think what happens is we get caught up in the lights and what other people are doing. And I'll say this again, tunnel vision. So in the beginning, I didn't have television. I was watching what everybody was doing. So I was trying to shoot these big, magnificent videos. And a lot of times it's more about just being seen. And then through trial, tribulations, revenue growth and all that, I could give you the video from the yacht. But right now I don't have a yacht. So I got to go down the street and give it to you raw and uncut, but you're going to feel me. If you raw and uncut, you're going to feel me. So I think that's it. You know, I love the video process. It's just that I had to get used to it, being in front of that camera.
Yeah, like you definitely have to start to like adjust from, okay, like as a creative, as an artist, like this is what I'm used to, this is my bubble. But as like I expand that bubble, I have to get better because I'm not just expanding to do new things, I'm expanding to get good at it.
Yeah, and it seems like you're seasoned for the camera because not only are you in your music videos, but you're also have walked New York Fashion Week too.
Yeah. That was dope. That was an experience, man. I admire the people that do that. Even that, man, that's hard. Like, you know, being front stage, you know, that's a world, you know, that's a whole nother world, the Fashion Week. You know, I appreciate being a part of that too. My publicist got me into that. He brought me into that, so that was dope, man. I met a lot of good people there.
Would you ever double back into the fashion, going back into the runway?
No, I would go watch. I don't want to. I ain't trying to walk. Hey, let me tell you something. As and this goes back to what you said. As you become from the artist to owner, and there's any type of money involved, you'll rethink something. You'll figure it out. Say, I'll do it. You know, the bag, right, or some type of promotion, you'll do it. I would consider it. It's not my passion. I have an apparel company, Jenko Apparel. It's not my fashion to. It's not my dream to have a fashion line, the apparel line to my company. So, meaning like the New York Giants, and then you buy the apparel because that's your team.
Yeah.
That's what mine is like. I'm not like a fashion guy. My partner, Aviator Cross, he has a aviator clothing line. Like, he's fashionable. Like, he puts zippers on the hoodies, and that ain't my thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Jenko Media is big. Like, it's booming, and it does a lot of great work. Can you speak on what it does a little bit more for our listeners out there?
We're an online media company. We're expanding into consulting now. We'll be doing consulting by the end of the month. The new site will be up, and we'll be in the consulting. Giving the knowledge. I want to give back, because a lot of people out here just, we caught up in what we see, and it's not really like that. We got to have the structure right. A lot of artists don't even know how to work their calendar. Having their things scheduled: studio this day, video shoot this day, studio this day, writing the treatment out for the video this day, video shoot this day, preparation for this day, album release this day, album cover, like simple stuff.
Yeah.
It sounds simple. It really don't be like that. It's like, yo, I got an album coming out. Where the cover at? Oh man, I'm about to make it. Like, yo, you be like, what? I used to be one. I was him, man.
Because it's like people are out there who are chasing a dream, but you're not just chasing dreams. Like, you got to build up to it, because there's a lot of things that you could chase, you could see, but a lot of things you don't see.
I took time off. I haven't dropped since August 31st, 2020. I took time off to really get it. Now I understand. That's why I said the consultant part. Now I understand. Like, shout out to my management, Crystal Roots Management, Fresh, my manager, Fresh. Man, just realigning everything. Stockpiling music. Like, when you're independent, right? We have freedom. But sometimes we take it too far. Man, I'll just drop it anytime. That is a freedom, but you want to be right when you drop. So you got to find that balance, and don't let the freedom get to your head. You don't want to, I missed a lot of big opportunities where I could have took albums to the max. Cause I was talking about like albums dropping and they go fast, right? It only seemed like they're going fast because music is dropping, but you could drop an album today and you can work the album the whole year when you're independent. You got 10 songs. Got 10 videos to work if you got the budget. Really run it all year and get paid. Unless you're competing with like Nas or Drake or one of them, you really don't stand a chance against a multi-million-dollar company, right? I think, being organized, and that's what I learned. So I took a couple of years off and I went to studio. I created all these. I got like 2 albums, 4 EPs done. I had video shoots done, and photo shoots and things of that nature. So now when I shoot, it's like automatic now. You know what I mean? I'm letting you have it now. Instead of like shoot here, I miss these shots. I would drop an album and then I would go back in the studio and come back with another one. I'm not even done working this one.
Hey man, I keep yourself in the vault.
I miss key singles. So, I miss albums that went over people's head. I said, damn, I could have worked this thing. Not only thing with being independent, I could always go back and say, hey, I'm dropping. Because independent, what's our platform? I'll drop a song from Money Music, which I dropped in 2020. And people be like, oh man, that just came out. That's dope. So, you're like, fuck it. Yeah, it is,
Facts. And I think that really, when you build up your catalog and you release those songs, when you get rolling, you get the ball ready, and then you have the funds to back it up, you hit people with that album, and then they hear you, they're like, dang, this artist is dope, this artist is raw. Release some music, show the fans out there, like, this is my style, this is who I am. And then once you gain some traction, that's when you start hitting the videographers up. That's when you start hitting everybody. So when they go to your page, it's not, oh, this dude has one project out. It's no, this artist has this and that and that. I think that's really the stage that you passed that stage of, okay, I got these songs out. But now it's like, this is Barry Bondz year 2022 hitting you on the head. Oh, you like this album? We got 2 more in the vault. We got 3 more ready to pop. We got this video. And really, that's the beautiful rollout of the independent artist, is that you get to choose when you start that, when you drop that, and the music is ready when you're ready.
No, definitely. I mean, I can go back. I mean, I had my own studio. I've been blessed most of my career to have my own studio, in-house studio. I had a studio, a big studio. I just sometimes, be honest with you, man, sometimes it go to your head. You be looking what other people doing, man. I should have been there when SoundCloud came out. I should have dropped the song every week. I should have, just to do what you said, to show them, get my sound out. That's the way. I could have dropped, you know. Audio Mac, I was doing that. I did that in Audio Mac from like October, November, I think at the end of December. I was dropping like a song. I was dropping freestyle every weekend, every Friday, and just building up my listeners and all that, you know, and it was working. So I was thinking to myself, damn, what if I would have just did that with SoundCloud? But you know, we're looking at what somebody else doing. Yo, this guy just dropped an album. So you're a mom and pop store, they're a Walmart.
Yeah, like really like comparing yourself in your like pace of somebody else's pace, it's always gonna make you go off pace. Like you're not even looking in your own lane. Like you definitely can never like, you know, you feel like everybody's learning their own thing like differently. So that's definitely something that we definitely talked about before on the podcast. What's something that you feel like you do like really well in your lane? Like it's like okay, this is a me thing. Like I can do this. I know you said delegate before, but like what's like something like a skill, like you feel like a character trait? Like okay, like this is my Barry Bondz thing.
As a business, or as in like recording, as a business, I'm organized. As an artist, I'm militant when it comes to work. Like when the deadline's there, I get it done. I put my all into it. There's nothing in my way. Like I lock in. On a business sense, I'm organized. So all the T's are going to be crossed and the I's are going to be dotted when I come. Now you're going to play with it. That's what I do best. A Barry Bondz trait. A Barry Bondz trait is you come in the studio and on the whiteboard, all my songs are lined up correctly, you know, neatly. I'm one of them, you know what I mean? And it's ready to go.
In 2022, how important would you say it is for all the listeners out there to not only be an artist, but to step into the entrepreneur lane and to step into really every avenue?
I think it's important. I think you find your niche, and then everything else you do is like the commercial for it. So I feel like, you know, it's important to be able to run your own. They don't develop artists anymore. They come get you while you develop. So you build your worth up so you can negotiate. You know, one thing I would tell artists is money management. Money management, you don't have to sell your soul. You know, they sign you for whatever, but you don't have to take it if you know how to manage your money. They give us money with the thought of he gonna blow it. Now you blow your money, you gotta sell your publishing. Now you don't own your publishing for the next 20 years. So I think that's it. It's very important to be entrepreneurial. It's very important to know how to conduct business now. You gotta know what you're signing, you know, you gotta know what you're signing up for, you gotta know who you're getting in business with. And you gotta know how to have a brand, you gotta know how to have a logo to stand out. You gotta know how to trademark your name. These are the things that I was doing in the midst of everything changing. You know, I went back and trademarked Barry Bondz. You know, it's a lot of artists that don't have their name trademarked. I went back, I got my LLC, had all that business credit. And you're able to go and to rise. In 2022, you gotta be on social media, right? Record label, if you're signed to, they expect you to go on your Instagram and promote your stuff. When I see artists drop, I seen Yo Gotti post something today. I didn't see it on a billboard. I didn't see it on a TV commercial. I seen it on Instagram. So you got to learn social media, you know? So you got to have, I think that's part of being an entrepreneur, right? Having different avenues. I see you guys got everything, you know, YouTube, Twitter and all that. Those are ways to connect to the podcast. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, those are ways to connect. So that's your business. That's different commercials for you. So I think it's very important that they teach that beyond, unless you just, even being a writer, you gotta learn the paperwork, right? You gotta learn to be the business, or you get beat.
That's thank you for preaching that, because we try telling all of our listeners, like, look, it's not as simple as I'm gonna go record this, I'm gonna go to the studio and I'm gonna drop it. You need to think of everything that you're gonna do, and like you said, move militant. We live in a world where we have to compete as artists with the Drakes, with the Taylor Swifts, with the Kanyes. Money is one thing. We can't beat the $1 million majors. It just is what it is. But we can compete with what we have. We could maximize our TikTok. We can maximize our YouTube. We can maximize guerrilla marketing on social media, and you could do everything in your power that you can without the funds and still make some sort of impact onto the industry.
Yeah, I say it like this, right? When you start up and you build, let's say social media, let's just use Instagram as one of the most popular platforms, and you're building followers, it's important to when you build it's important to interact with them, because you could have, it could be a person with 1,000 followers and this person got 20,000. But if you have interaction with those 1,000, you can get those 1,000 people to spend $1,000 a year on you, let's say $100 a month, you can survive off that. You know, you drop merch this month, hat and hoodie, you do an event, they come out, support your event, you're interacting, and it grows better than having thousands of people just look at you. And then when you drop nothing, they don't support. You know, you could run your business off that, because that's money that's coming in. You got $1,000 from 1,000 people, like $100,000 or something like that. It don't be broke down like that, but when you really think about the interaction part, that's really like, I'm not sure if my math's correct. One of y'all got the calculator. I think it's like 100K or something like that. But you know what I mean? Like, but that's how you build it. So think about it like that. If you can get people to buy even $50 from 1,000 people, you know, a hoodie, you know, people coming out to your show, you do the live podcast, $25 a ticket, and then they buy merch after, you know, like, and it funds, that's building it from the ground up. That's what Jenko means, built from the ground up. So, you know what I mean? That type of interaction can fund your company, can fund your artists, can fund your podcast, can fund whatever you're doing. You know what I mean? Whatever you're doing can fund it. But you have to interact with those people. Those people comment, you got to answer back to them. You got to hold polls and see what they think. Let them people know what you think. They let them know what you listen to. Let them know what you eat. But they don't teach us that in the beginning. It's like you take a photo. You ever see people on Instagram, on like your personal Instagram in the beginning, where like you put something positive up. You put what you're doing up and you get a couple likes, but you put on a great outfit, you get all the likes. That's the disconnect, you know, and with your followers, but you find the people that support you and they support you and they're coming out. And I think that's where it was. That's the missing link. When I started, I was blessed to, I worked with DJ Premier before and at the D&D studio where Biggie did Reasonable Doubt. Jay-Z did Reasonable Doubt and Biggie did Ready to Die. And he played my music on his Sirius radio station and all that. And I was working there with this guy named Charles Rowan. And he's a great engineer, world now. He used to mix from everybody to Michael Jackson. You know, what I missed was you get a show, right? So let's say you get a show, you're artist, and you might come out, there's 5 people there. And I say, man, you thinking, I'm bigger than this, but in actuality, you do that show for the 5. And then you come back and do the next show for the 7. And then you come back and do the next show for the 10. Those are the people that's going to buy that merch one day, the 20. 15 to 20 to 30. Now when he put the show, yo, my man can rap, yo, about to go up 40. That's the shit. That's the stuff, excuse me, that's the stuff. So that on the line, you doing the show and the merch table's going crazy. And that's how a lot of these artists funded, believe it or not. But they don't tell that story's not told. It just make it seem like, yo, I rapped one day, man, 1,000 people came out, it was on popping. You build it. And those photos and everything, that's what you look back on when you doing the arena or the thing the big thing in New York or somewhere, wherever you at. That's what you look back on. Like, damn, man, I remember we did 10 people. That's the meat and potatoes of it. It's promoted on now to skip that. Everybody just made it, man. That's just how it is now. It's just on. Yeah, man. If I would have went back, bro, like if I could go back, write a time machine, man, I could go back, I would document. I used to think in my mind, right? So like I said, I recorded D&D, and that was like, it's no longer there anymore, but it was like a major studio. So I remember I vlogged there, build the fan base. How many people could get in there? The vlog that you want to build the fan base on is when you're in the room and you get in your bedroom and you got the studio set up and they filming you, they showing you on that grind. So the people can connect with you. They can, these people right here, the fans, you guys got a lot of fans, friends, family, whatever you want to call them. They're riding with you, you know? Yes. They're gonna know the story too, they're part of it. And you're inspiring somebody else doing a podcast who's trying to start up, and they watching y'all. And they're like, man, I remember they did it like this. That's it, right? That's how we pass the baton. There are some people who never see me record in the bedroom. And there are people that, you ever watch something and you're like, man, I do it the same way. Like there are some people they have to do it that way. They, got the laptop there and they doing it. And you're like, yo, I'm doing the same thing. I can make it. You want to get out that inspiration. So that's important,
Max, and just not only the past, but you've been grinding and making good content and good music and entrepreneur moves from the jump and to now. So what do you have planned for 2022?
Oh man, I'm ready. I can't speak on it. Only thing I can say, starting February, I got a video dropping. It's called Trap Nigga First. It sounds like, it's street tales, but the message in the joint is for anybody going through anything. Remember who you are. You're gonna lose yourself through success. You're gonna lose yourself when you're down. You start a family, you're gonna lose yourself. You argue with your family, you might lose yourself. Whatever. And you gotta remember who you are first. So in that song, it's more like I'm telling myself, like, I'm trapping this music. I'm trap first, man. So that's what I'm telling myself. So I really like the song. The beat is produced by my producer from Russia, Acid 808. I think that's amazing for me. Like I said, my team, real proud of it. Directed by my video director Teddy Powell. My manager came up with the treatment. Team effort, man. So I'm real proud of that. That's coming out very soon. And then I can say I have a few projects coming this year. I have a bunch of them coming. They're just being finalized. So I like to have it, like I have the video on my hands, so I can tell y'all it's coming. The project, I still got to get some clearance and stuff, so I can't give you a date on that. But yeah, I'm going to unload this year. This is my year. I deserve this year.
Great energy. I feel that. Where can our listeners follow up on you and keep up with all your releases?
You can go on my Instagram or my Twitter at Barry Bondz with a Z. BARRY BONDZ. Z as a 0. Facebook Bondz at Bondz World, BONDZ World. My website, barrybondz.com. You can check on, the Smoke Talk podcast. You can hear me once a week talking smack. You can go on Apple Music, Spotify, everywhere, man. Audio Mac, I'm here, man. Jenko Apparel, you get my apparel at jenkoapparel.com. I'm coming, man.
Bet that. And every listener out there, make sure you listen into this. Make sure you go check out Barry Bondz before your friend tells you, because you want to be the one that gets the information there first. You don't want to be the one that comes in the party late. So everyone out there, make sure you go check out Barry Bondz, not only on Twitter, not only on Instagram, but on YouTube, as well as this podcast and the merch.
My youtube.com/Barry Bondz. I forgot that's the biggest one. Or Bondz World, either one. You search Barry Bondz, man. I'm there, man.
Thank you so much for getting on the show with us and dropping mad knowledge on us, man.
Yo, this is Barry Bondz, and you're tuning into the Love of It podcast.